But let's get to what has happened today, where the National Party has broken up with the Liberal Party. It was the National Party's decision to do so, and its leader is David Littleproud. Just before I came on the air live, I had an opportunity to talk to him, and the simple question is this. On the behalf of millions of people who were voting for the Coalition to be the government just a few weeks ago, what the hell is going on?
And we started negotiations on re-entering a coalition agreement, but my party room and I got to a juncture that there were policy positions that we weren't prepared to negotiate on, ones that were already coalition policy that were fought for last term that stood us in good stead and would change the lives of regional Australians. And with the circumstances that Susan had in terms of wanting to be able to announce a shadow cabinet, which meant a coalition agreement had to be done in the coming days, but not being able to give us that comfort or guarantee that those policies that we were looking at could be guaranteed, because she wanted to go through a longer, elongated period of policy formation that we couldn't sign up to, because these are hard-fought wins that would change the lives of people in regional Australia. They're around better telecommunications with extending the universal service obligation to mobile phone towers, so that Australians aren't put at risk in regional Australia that are in danger tonight because the tower doesn't work and they can't ring 000. It's about being able to have a fund that would build some childcare places so that young families in regional Australia can send their kids to childcare and they can get a job. At the moment, it's not about childcare affordability, it's accessibility in the bush, and it's about us also having some money to train our own, to be our own doctors and nurses and physios, to be able to say that nuclear should be part of a technology agnostic mix, and that we should be prepared to have a deterrent consequence for supermarkets for doing over farmers, but doing over you consumers. And they were things that the National Party have fought for since before I even got to this place. We secured them last term. They're not new policies. They're ones we think are common sense. And our room got to the juncture where, unless we could get a guarantee, and we understood the Liberals wanted to go on a journey of rediscovery, well, they can do that. We'll be here, our door will be open, but we had to have principles, because if we walked away from that, then we walked away from what was going to change the lives of regional Australians.
Susan Lee is in the process of planning a funeral for her mother. Why not next week? Why not next month? Something made this happen quickly. Very obviously, OK, if the teams couldn't get together, fine and fair enough. It's a 3-year electoral cycle. But why now? Why today?
Well, it was Susan's determination of that. Let me make this very clear to you. Susan rang me the day after being elected and wanted to fly back to Canberra on last Friday to discuss coalition agreements. I'd made it very clear to her on that Wednesday there was no way in the world I was going to allow her to fly back and be away from her mother. If she wanted to have those discussions and she felt it necessary, I would drive to Albury. I got in the car and drove to Albury and met with her for an hour. And then we had a discussion, and I came back and our party room had a discussion. I went back to her and told her where our party room was. We had further discussions, and sadly her mother died on Saturday. We didn't ask for any further discussions. It was Susan who initiated those. We made it very clear we're in no hurry in terms of a coalition agreement or announcing a shadow cabinet. We were prepared to work through her personal circumstances, and we made it very clear that that was the timeline that she wanted to set. So Susan's a very strong woman, and she made it very clear, and I was provided with a response of what our party room's initial concerns were on Monday night. And I took that to the party room after Susan sent it to me. So the timelines weren't predicated by the National Party. Okay. They're predicated by Susan and the respect of the personal circumstances that she had. I was comfortable, and our party room was comfortable to keep discussions going for as long as that meant for her personal circumstances to be addressed.
Okay, well, I wanted to deal with the elephant in the room. Thank you for being open and honest about your understanding and how you lived those few days. Now, obviously, at least once a month we go and do a show in regional Australia. It's why I appreciate these conversations, and you know how much I want the same standard of living in regional Australia as there is in city Australia. There's no but in this quote. There is, however, a political reality that is playing out in lots of different electorates and even in sort of the National Party view of seats, right? Now, quite correctly, you've said that the party has held the line and not lost seats for election after election after election. Yes, Calare, which of course has a long history of independence, that's the asterisk around all of this. But I did want to tell you this, and you know it already. In the seat of Cowper, you won 52-48 against a Teal. In the seat of Page, the Labor Greens vote went up 10%. In the seat of Lyne, the Independent and Cannabis parties, together their vote went up 21%. In the seat of Nichols, the Labor Party and the Greens, their vote went up 15%. Now, yes, there are plenty of others where the National Party vote held, the Trumpets and One Nation, their number went up as well. But there are certain tensions that will be on the National Party over the next 3 years that may well be what the Liberal Party has not been able to hold up against when it comes to cashed up country Teals, running real candidates, not sort of, the local Fruit Loop, like some of those that have, but some serious money and some serious attention. That could well be on the way. Is the National Party going to be able to, in a seat like Cowper, 52-48, where yes, nuclear was clearly the policy, but we're having a different conversation in 3 years' time, because it feels to me that you, like all major political parties, you cop it from the left and the right, but I've just shown you a few seats where it's the left that are starting to show their teeth in otherwise a proud Green National Party territory.
Yeah, a great analysis, mate, and you're right. In fact, we think the Teal in Cowper spent somewhere between $1 and $2 million, and we don't have that sort of money, obviously. But having said that, Cowper's always been probably a 2 to 5% margin seat. So we take that seriously, and that's why it's important that today's decision is predicated on principle and policy. That I can go back to the seat of Cowper, I can go back to Page, I can go into Calare and say honestly, and looking regional Australians in the eye, that the National Party's listening, and we're going to make your life better because we're going to have a principled position. It's not about the position we might hold in Canberra. It's about the policy that's going to change your life for the better, to make sure that your kids have a better future. Because you know why I got into Parliament? It's because I was jack of seeing generations of young people from Western Queensland go over the Great Divide and go to Brisbane and never come home. I want to bring them home and keep them home. But unless we get our fair share, and unless at some point we stand up and say, you know what, there are lines in the sand that we can't let go of, because if we do, then we won't change those lives. We won't make the amenity of living in regional Australia better, and we won't bring them home, and we won't keep young people home. And that's the Australia I want to leave behind. I've been given a very privileged position to come to this Parliament, and I don't care what people think of me, but I want to leave this place knowing that I've looked Australians and regional Australians in the eye, and I've stood for something. I've stood for them. Whether I'm right, wrong or indifferent, I've stood for them because I believe in them and I believe in our future.
Good on you, David. I like talking to you. You're a straight shooter. You'll take them as you cop them, and I hope you understand the spirit in which I ask, which is only for the joint to be better and to be saved from the idiots that, are going to be running the joint for the next little while. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.